do this piece.
Did you summon the internet
GM,
first?
All the time. Did we what?
Did you summon the internet yet?
I don't know. We gotta hope that the internet knows how to internet. We'll see if the internet's interneting. Any internet. It's a hot day. We may have to just put that fan on. Azar Ahmad, hi. Hi, everybody, hi. Because we have just 2 chats on the screen. If you want to just look at the camera, look at the red light over there, the orange light in the camera. That's our camera.
Yeah, it's warm.
If there's a way, the air conditioner in my apartment is in my bedroom because that's, if it's not there, I'm not going to sleep. And normally, I'm at my desk and I can aim the fan from my bedroom into here. But...
And most people aren't aware that right now it's roughly the temperature of the sun in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Heat index of 100. So I think I have to open those curtains just so we get more light in here. Tell us in the chat if the sound from the fan is too much for you. And you can feel free to field any questions as they come in, Justin.
The fan is on for those, curious at home. Is the fan agreeable?
Yeah. Is this fan too much? Are you getting any of the breeze?
It feels better. About the same. There we go. Now it's over here.
Okay. Good. Do I need it? Oh, it's like aimed away from you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
There we go.
Carwine 2004 says, I barely hear the fan. All right. Albeck says, gotta run 2 box fans to get that sweet, cool air life into my room. And Mike Wallinger said, I sharded a little bit. So today, as you join us in the middle of Sunday, it's now 3 p.m. in Pennsylvania on the East Coast. I'm trying to see if that thing of whole drinking hot coffee on a hot day cools you off and makes you sweat more. Find out if that works or not. If not, we have cool drinks. So today's your GM questions with Justin Kramer, General Motors specialist. Yeah, I didn't introduce him to you. Last time you were on was maybe a year ago when we were just starting the podcast. Justin Kramer is the owner of Slatington Auto Repair.
Catasauqua.
Ah, gosh darn it. Catasauqua Auto Repair, Catasauqua, Pennsylvania, along with his friend John, a Lemons Rally now champion.
Well, co-champion, yes. Well, 3.
Have a little modesty. This is
Split 3 ways.
You did win best overall in the 2018
Yeah.
Retreat from Moscow Lemons Rally. You won.
After a horrific showing in the 17 rally.
But you had a kind of reliable car. With an engine.
We thought we were showing up with junk.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even registering on to anyone in that rally of garbage.
Yeah.
They were just like, this isn't even cool. It's not junky enough.
Your first car in a Lemons Rally was a what?
An 83 Ford LTD.
Which was running what engine?
200 inline 6 based on a Falcon engine.
Exactly.
It was the last hurrah for the Falcon engine in 83.
83. They designed that engine in 1960. I wonder if derivatives ran into the 50s. I mean, it's a reverse flow head straight.
No,
6.
I have the older motor in my tow truck, and that one, the carburetor's on the driver's side, okay. and the intake comes off. It looks like a generic inline 6, but there's nothing similar about the 2 motors, at least looking at them. So I'm sure there's probably nothing else really design-wise either.
Burgundy Burnouts, who is a frequent, almost every single time chat guy, showing up on the stream. His icon, I think, is a WS6 Firebird. Thanks for $5. He says, just finished playing Wolfenstein 2. If you ever get the chance, it's some Nazi killing fun. I'm gonna miss this one. Got called in to work. Have fun. Okay, so you're not gonna be with us. And Matt Richter, thanks for $5. Marty F. Kill Beverly Crusher Diana Troy Tasha Yar.
Is that Star Trek?
It is Star Trek. I don't understand his question.
Well, you have to pick one to marry, one to F, and one to kill.
Oh, okay.
But I cannot remember which one is which from Star Trek.
Deanna Troy is from Beta Z, and she is an empath, and she can read your mind and know your emotions.
But which ones were they in the show? Or is just Crusher from Star Trek?
They're all from Star Trek. Star Trek Next Generation.
Yes, I recognized it, but I haven't watched it since I was like 15. So.
I think I'd kill Beverly Crusher because all she's going to do is brood over her son, and I'm not into marrying girls who already have, well, kids. There's no politically correct way to say that, is there? But anyway, we're talking about a fictional universe. So I think I would marry Deanna Troy because we wouldn't have any confusion in the relationship, and I'd fuck Tasha Yar.
I would kill all three of them, and I guess go with the guy that had the beard. Was he like the...
Riker.
Yes.
You could play trombone with
Mary and F.
Cactus Catastrophe says, is this someone you know? Cactus Catastrophe?
No, but it sounds like it was said by someone that I would know.
His question is, Justin, wax poetic about the 3.8 liter V6 with a new intake gasket that doesn't leak oil.
I've never seen one.
There are two versions of the 3.8. There's the Buick one and the Chevy one, right?
Well, and no one even knows what the Chevy one, because that never really took off. But there's an old 3.8, and then there's the Series 2 Buick 3.8, which is what everyone knows now, which is when all the front-wheel drive cars. But I don't know the exact specifics. Joshua went on the first rally with is the expert on these. But there is like a definitive difference between the like carbureted 3.8s from the 70s and 80s and the Series 2, which was like the mid-90s till the end of production front-wheel drive motor. Oh, you got me.
I'm trying to button these notes on the board so they don't blow around in the fan. Going down the rabbit hole with Justin Kramer here with GM engines, I want to learn more about them so I can review cars from the 80s and 90s better, knowing that, oh, it has, what, the 2.1, the 2.8, the 3.1, the 3.8. And in my head, they're all 60-degree Vs.
Yeah, the 4.3 is the 90. They're all, the rest of them are all in a 60-degree bell housing. Well, this one bell housing is shared. They're all 60-degree V. But like the 2.8, the 3.1, the 3.4, the 3.5, and the 3, I think the 3.9 too, are all a Chevy engine.
Okay.
Where the 3.3 and the 3.8 are Buick engines.
The thing that confuses me is that this is 80s and 90s we're talking about, but it's after the consolidation where they wanted all GMs to have the same engines.
Yeah, that was in the late 70s, but they didn't necessarily pick Chevy for all of them.
Oh.
Like Buick survived. The Buick 3.8 was, I guess at the time, the best V6.
The Grand National engine?
What became the Grand National. Yeah, this was before that. Because the Chevy had a 3.82, which was odd fire. I haven't dealt too much with this stuff. But it was a chopped down V8, I believe.
Okay.
And it was imbalanced because of how the cylinders were spaced. It's an odd fire and an even fire 3.8.
Huh.
So the Buick one won out, but they made both at the same time. You could get them both in the same model.
What is the body style of those Cutlass Sierras that you got?
I can't remember the chassis of them.
But is that the car that would come with either one or the other?
No, older, like Malibus, like G-body Malibus, like 78, 80 in that era. You could get a Chevy or a Buick 3.8 V6. And then 305 probably, or a 350 Chevy.
Huh. Stephen Uhal with $2 Canadian asks, Justin, I want a 2006 Buick Lucerne as my first car. What are your thoughts? I don't know what a Lucerne is.
Generic old person car.
Okay.
I have worked on 2 of them. They seem nice. Have nice interiors. They ride really like nice and old person-y. Where you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
I think they have some wiring issues, but I haven't personally experienced it yet. Haven't had any issues with that.
Okay.
But I think they might have body control computers. A lot of the new GMs I'm noticing have a lot of nearly unfixable wiring and computer issues.
Really?
And by new, I mean I don't get real new stuff. I'm saying like mid 2000s.
Okay.
Now the cars are getting a little bit older. Because
are we talking like Cobalts or?
I've had a few Equinoxes that have just unfixable. I mean, I'm sure it's fixable if you really tear the entire car's harness apart.
Is it like stuff like parasitic drains or?
No, like every light in the dashboard being on, airbag, traction control. I had a customer that the stability control and ABS was doing this thing where it would just lock one brake up randomly. What? Like she got stuck in a McDonald's drive-thru with the right front brake just all the way on.
Really? And
it wouldn't release.
Shit.
And it wasn't, her foot wasn't on the brake or anything. But something with the traction control thought that it had to do that.
Oh. Chris O'Cara, thank you for $1.99. Worst and this is what is the worst and what is the best? I have to know the extremes of every situation.
The worst, people are ready to know what that is going to be.
Okay, what's the best, worst and best GM vehicle to work on?
The worst, not breaking any new ground here, is anything with a North Star in it.
Right.
Is absolutely the worst thing ever. Best, I don't know. There's old stuff, like Chevettes were the easiest thing on the face of the earth to work on.
Yeah?
But anything old, for the most part's easy to work on. Yeah, and just simplicity and stuff like that.
What were you talking about, how there was one particular vehicle that GM made that the parts become Dollar General cheap when it comes to disposable things like brakes and rotors? You were talking about something like $15 rotors for some.
Oh yeah, well, they're good for recycling parts on like all the different models, and with anything, not just car parts. I mean, it's economics. The more you make of something, the more you sell of something, generally the cheaper it becomes.
Okay.
So like all those, I have a bunch of those square body pickup trucks
that we got to get into, which is like your passion.
Well, the 73, I redid every single piece in the brakes. Lines, the power booster, the master. The only thing I didn't change was the rotors and the drums because they were fine. Mm-hmm. And it was $190. Pads, calipers, hoses, lines, master cylinder, and the brake booster. Front and rear.
Man, and here I am about to drop a Willwood into the Falcon to finally balance those brakes.
Yeah. So a lot of older GM stuff is like that. Wow. And because it's shared from everything. Like, the Chevettes use the same brake pads that my 78 3/4 ton truck uses.
Nice. Whoa, wow.
GM had one brake pad in the 70s. I think it's a part number 52. And it fits every...
Corvettes would have it?
No, Corvettes had their own deal, but there was one pad for like all their front disc, rear drum cars. And then I even saw they used that pad on the rear of some cars in the 80s that had four-wheel discs, like Camaros, if they had the rear disc option.
Okay.
Used that same front pad on the back, like forever. So when you have stuff like that, it's going to be pennies.
Urge to buy something GM. Burgundy Burnouts, I see you in the regular chat. He says, shameless plug, I'm building a 3800 series 3 Turbo Firebird on my channel. Stephen Uni, get a 3800 one. Chinstroker, if you get a 3.8 98 to 02 F body, you get 1.5 feet of space to work on it. I guess that means because they have 1.5 feet of space in front of the engine.
Well, F bodies suck to work on in general.
Oh, yeah.
That even with a V6, they aren't really fantastic. They're better than the V8 ones. The V8 ones are impossible to work on, especially the LT ones. The LS ones are better than the LT1 cars. That might actually, now I think about it, surpass North Stars for being horrendous to work on.
The spark plugs alone.
If according to GM, and no one does this, but according to GM, you're supposed to remove the motor to do the spark plugs.
Get out.
You drop,
like put a chain on it and undo the.
It goes at the bottom.
Oh.
Motor, trans, the entire front suspension on a K-frame unibody thing. Drop it down, buzz the plugs out, put new plugs back in, push it back up in. But that's the official way to do it, or else you spend 3 or 4 hours removing all the skin on your fingers trying to get them out.
My God. Okay. Nick Bellanger. I hope I'm doing that right. Nick, am I right? Not trying to be political. Yeah, you are. But thoughts on the 2008 General Motors bailout and GM's lineup thereafter. Also, RCR Georgia. There's some guys with aircraft in Georgia. I'd return to Georgia, but it would probably be like in December or something like that. We have Sweetwater and Terrapin breweries. I do like Terrapin. That's a nice brew. But my thoughts on the General Motors bailout, I think General Motors is so gosh darn big it can't really manage itself appropriately. And it can't make overarching preventative maintenance from a financial standpoint decisions like Ford did to just get rid of all their cars and just do things. It's Jeremy Clarkson said General Motors almost was too big to fail, primarily from a fleet division standpoint. And I know I keep saying standpoints. But then again, isn't it political where I'm assuming a lot of executives have their fingers in the political machine, if you want to call it a machine, and it was just the thing to do. However, they're not the first. We can go all the way back to Chrysler, and even then, Lee Iacocca said they weren't the first. So bailing out a car firm is nothing new. Any ideas?
Yeah, I was never a big fan of it, but I mean, honestly, I'm not particularly interested in anything currently made by most auto manufacturers. So I wasn't fully vested with GM at the point when they were having their financial problems anyway.
Right.
Nothing they made really interests me, or I mean, the trucks are okay, but
yeah,
from the car standpoint, they're still kind of lacking.
There was somebody on the chat a while ago being salty and saying the only thing GM ever did correctly was the small block V8. And I can see why they would say that. They did economy of scale, like you said, probably better than anybody. But even if it was just the 350 and now the iterations of the LS and its continuing evolution into the new LT with direct injection, that still is quite a legacy.
Well, modern GM, you wouldn't expect it, but GM has one of probably the most advanced and cutting edge computer systems in their cars, engine management in general, over a lot of other brands. Now, I said they have wiring problems. That's because things, whenever you have electronics, the physical part can break down, and then that's what happens. Not any to fault the actual electronics themselves. But that's one good. GM's very good at engine management, things of that nature. Computers, ECMs are very they're up there with anyone else in the world, if not ahead.
Nice. Brendan McGinnis, thanks for $4.99. He says, when will General Motors bring exciting hatches and wagons to the U.S.? Compare with Ford Focus and all. Dad worked at GM for 30 years and asked GM balked. What?
He asked them why, and they
balked. Good stuff. Good stuff stays in the European Union. Well, it is true all the Opel divisions and all their tiny cars end up there, except when they don't. In terms of the Chevette, that's an Opel.
I don't think GM, at least from the 80s on, has been particularly good at having an idea what the public wants. I think they just kind of put things out there, and they're like, "Here's what you're getting. Here's Illumina, and this is what you get."
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like the Chrysler PT Cruiser, came out, was a success. You can say what you will about it, but it sold. GM, almost 10 years later, makes the HHR. Takes like 3 years of development to build it. It's a PT Cruiser. Yeah. And by that point, the PT Cruisers aren't selling. Yeah. They did the same thing with the what was the pickup thing? SSR.
Yo, yeah, that retro thing.
After the Prowler.
Really? Yeah.
Because you think about it, that's just a Prowler ripoff. Yeah, and but they made it expensive. It was trash. Yeah. I don't know. They kind of like, ooh, people like this. Someone else did it. Now let's us do it too late and not as well like later. Right. You see the same thing about the Camaro once Ford came out with the retro Mustang in 04, 05.
Oh, with the after the SN95, I think that's the S127.
Yeah. When they came out with that, then GM's like, hey, maybe we should bring back this Camaro that we didn't have TV commercials for the last 5 or 6 years. We made it so we didn't sell any.
Yeah. Oh, all the old F bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. They killed it because they weren't selling it, but at the same time, they weren't even advertised, and they still made the Camaro when they were still making it in 02, and then they couldn't figure out why it wasn't selling anything.
With Rafael Varga with $5 or €5. Hello from Southwest Germany. I've been a long-time fan and love your stuff. Currently, I'm a 17-year-old student. How long do you think you're going to be one? That's a dad joke. I'm sorry.
Took a sec.
How long should I keep my first car? Well, that's a very open-ended question. I mean, if you're a student, you'd probably keep your car until it stops functioning. And plus, I don't know what... I think Germany's safety regulations with cars are very, very strict. It's not like here in this part of Pennsylvania that doesn't even have emissions regulations.
Yeah, people complain about car standards here, why their cars won't pass inspection. And in a lot of other countries, it's much more strict.
Right. Well, if you don't like your car passing inspection, go to like Ohio. Or does Ohio have safety? Florida doesn't.
I know Oklahoma doesn't. I don't think they have registration.
What?
Yeah, I have family out there. Insurance? Yeah, I think you have to have a plate, but I don't think you have to renew it or anything.
What? Wow.
And you don't need to register trailers.
Huh.
Or have lights on them. it's kind of so that there's some states that would even blow you away that we're pretty strict, and then other countries make us look like we're letting people drive anything. Right.
Sasha Chicago with the $5. Asking, do you think Tesla will stay around? Too early to tell.
Probably.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, they pretty much been bleeding money since they started, so I don't think I don't know. Seems to be working for them.
The cars are good, and I'll have a few things to say about the new one, which we won't get into here. But I mean, there's QC problems with the Model 3, but the car is in such demand that it's not gonna really hurt sales. But the only thing that's hurting sales is they can't make them. They just can't make them fast enough. They wanted to be able to produce 5,000 units a month or something. I don't know. Where was it a day? You can't make 5,000 cars a day.
No.
5,000 a year? 5,000
probably a month.
Yeah.
Because I know even in the 60s they were selling tens of thousands of certain models a year.
Okay.
So yeah, probably 5,000 a month.
The orders are there. The QC isn't, but no one cares because it's a hot item to have. But which do you think would happen first? Would Tesla go under, or do you think Elon would ask for a bailout? I couldn't see him doing that, but he would get even saltier on Twitter. So,
I mean, people really want those things. I don't think that they're gonna go under. I think they'll figure it out internally, most likely. I don't know. I don't see, with all the government shenanigans and stuff.
Right.
I don't know if he'd be able to get money. There's probably too much standing in the way of that.
They're not UAW cars, so that's one thing at least that I guess may work against him in some markets. And that's maybe, we were trying to figure this out because we were talking about Teslas yesterday and why people automatically hate them. Well, why some people completely discount them even after driving them and feeling how fast they are and quiet they are. And I think some of it may have to do with their non-union cars and maybe working conditions at the so-called gigafactory.
I think people still just have a lot of, I don't know, assumptions about electric cars. I mean, Americans in general haven't really bought on to even diesel cars like Europeans have.
That's true.
Where it's a commonplace in Europe, and here you tell someone you have a diesel car and they think you have some 1978 Buick that's like shaking apart when it idles and blows black smoke. So I mean, we're still in that phase. Going to electric still like another step beyond that.
Right. I mean, every single electric car I've driven is fine, and even the GM Bolt was fine. That little hatchback, uncomfortable as hell. But fine. Range anxiety, I can understand it, but it's just something you work around. I mean, I ride motorcycles all the time, was riding them today, and you're just mindful of, because when you ride a motorcycle, most motorcycles don't have fuel gauges. You use your trip odometer as your fuel gauge, and knowing that at 100 miles, depending on how big your tank is, at 100 miles or close to it, start looking for a gas station and just keep topping it off. So you would have to plan larger trips around where chargers are. And, Alex Roy proves that you can go coast to coast and it's no problem.
Well, and people, I mean, you aren't driving trips like that. Most people aren't driving trips like that daily.
Right.
So most people are driving 30 minutes or less to work. Some people don't, but I would say that's probably the average.
Right.
So I mean, they're perfect for that. I mean, even though it was the GM, the Volt.
Yeah, that's a hybrid.
Yeah, but that was when you think about it, people were complaining about its range and all that. But most people that bought them, I don't think they were using fuel like for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like GM had to put a thing in it and it had to retune the software so the engine would run once in a while.
Yeah.
Because if you would just commute to work 10 minutes or something like that, you were running strictly on electric.
Yeah, and then your gas turned to varnish in there.
Yeah, and people were getting like 700 miles per gallon out of those things and stuff like that. I don't know what the failing point was of those cars, honestly. That seemed like a pretty good setup.
It was.
Probably just price.
Perhaps. The one we tested blue screened in the middle of it. Because even though it had a good charge in it, the lead acid battery went either for whatever reason it was almost dead, and it needs that even though it doesn't use that engine to crank
the motor. It should start the motor, no? Or it probably, I bet you that runs the car's electrical system.
Okay.
The computers and lights and stuff like that would still operate on 12 volts more than likely.
Okay. And not I don't know what the engine runs on. Yeah, something crazy. Paul Wagner, thanks for $5, man. My first car was a 1977 Chevy Scottsdale. The original engine blew up, so we put in a 97 Camaro V8. All right, so that'd be an LS.
LT. 97 was last year for the LT. I think Corvettes had them, but Camaro still had the LT until 98.
Really?
98 was the first year of the LS and Camaros and Firebirds.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I
thought when the LS came out, that was just it.
I think the 97, just the Corvette had it. Trucks didn't get it till 99. It was a roll-in because you could still get the GM 400 chassis, which was the 90s truck, was still made until like 01. It was GM's. That the other fun thing GM does was they'll sell two of the same car or two different cars under the same name at the same time. like the old body style and the new body style. They're real good at that. No one else does that, I don't think. GM just does that without a second thought.
Paul says, fun car to get to school and back. Love the reviews. Thank you, Paul. Cactus Catastrophe for $199 just says meat. Thank you very much. 139KK. Whoops. With just $1 donation. Thank you. And this money is all going toward the
buying another
Chicago
air conditioner
trip.
fund.
Buying another. You know, I had 2 air conditioners. I gave one to Mike Regensberger, my old station manager at Kutztown University Radio, because he needed one, and I didn't think. I thought, well, it's going to be a cool summer. I'm just going to need the one and not put a second one here.
Yep.
Will this? Well, look where we are.
Someone scrolled past. They asked if we ever got any
This
other.
one or this one?
On the right one. If we ever got any other Opals in the U.S.
we did?
other than the Chevette.
I scrolled past that?
Yep.
Where is it? Let's see.
What's up there? There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alex90 with 5 pounds. Apart from the Chevette, did General Motors introduce any Opel-based models to the U.S. market? And I don't know the answer to this question, do you?
The Opel GT was sold as the Solstice and the Saturn Sky, which my friend had a Sky Redline. And then near the end of Saturn, I think pretty much everything they made was an Opel. Huh. When they killed off the SLs and the SCs and all that, like the original Saturns.
Yeah.
When they came out with the what would they even make? Like the Aura and the Astra.
Yeah.
Those were just Opels.
Huh.
And ironically, they were probably the best cars Saturn ever made. Was near the end when they were killed off, and they were basically a badge job on Opel cars. But those were all Opels. All those last few year Saturns when they killed off the S series and the even before that, the L series Saturns. Those that they were the bigger ones that came out around the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. Those were Opels. What model? I don't know. But they either had an Ecotec or they had an Opel 3-liter, maybe it wasn't it. Huh. But when you open the hood on them, it says made in Germany, like all over the engine.
Oh, really?
So it's not even like a US based engine.
And they were perfectly fine?
Those cars weren't that great. I think the later ones, like the Astra and the Aura and all them, those were supposedly decent cars. Now, my friend Sky was great, but she hit a randomly placed tractor trailer wheel and tire that was in the road when she went around a corner. But yeah, she had a turbo one. Sweet. With a GM Stage 2 kit on it. Sweet. So I think it made like 300 horsepower and pound-feet of torque at the wheels. Whoa! She actually said it ruined the car because it was drivable before that. Yeah. And after she did that, it was like a D1 drift car on trying to merge onto the highway. So yeah, we did get a few Opels. Oh, the Opel GTs back in the 70s, those little mini Corvettes. Yeah, yeah. And then we had an Opel something else.
But those were straight up, they called them Opels.
But they were sold through Buick for some reason. If there's old ads, it'll say it's Opel by Buick. I guess GM didn't think people would just accept it as Opel. They needed to put the Buick name on it to kind of like ease them into a foreign car. Yeah. People were real funny about foreign cars back in the day in the U.S.
I wonder if they looked at foreign cars in like the 60s and 70s the way we look at the prospect of having Chinese cars here today.
Probably worse.
Yeah.
Because in the 50s and 60s and back to like, probably pre-World War II, the U.S. cars were the best cars in the world. There was no comparison. Like the U.S. were the most technically advanced cars. They're the best built cars. And then it kind of went downhill to try and compete with the imports that were coming in. Like if you get like a 60s like BMW or something, where now that's like considered real high, they're like a Volkswagen. They're junk. Really? Real base model. They're not particularly well built. BMWs were still available 6-volt until like 1968.
Really? I drove a 60s, or was it like a 71 2002?
It was the one under the 2002. I only know this because I saw it on Jay Leno's garage. Okay. There was a model under a 2002 that was crappier, and it was still 6-volt. Huh. So yeah, like GM, American cars used to be really like the best vehicles. And then so it was kind of weird seeing these other cars pushing in the 70s. Yeah. And it was really the gas crisis that changed all that. Where people started buying imports.
Yeah, we have this joke coming up in a video how to make our point we had to talk about the Arab oil embargo, and the video just stops and it's like, no, we will never stop talking about this, because it was. It's the automotive world's 9/11.
Yep, it was basically Mad Max.
Yeah,
everything changed.
So let's go back down. I saw one guy who posted a question and said he had to leave. But we'll see it. The Cajun 12. John Wayne says foreign cars are still weird in Minnesota.
About Michigan, isn't that Michigan?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, because they're kind of, salty.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yukon 12 for thanks for $10, man. Marry, F, and kill. Mazda 3 Hatch, Golf GTI, Focus ST, all current generations of it. All right.
Well, I guess
I'm gonna kill the Mazda 3 Hatch because you said Mazda 3 and Focus ST. Because, I'm going to have fun, but no one's going to care. And I do like a little bit of street cred, so I'm killing the Hatch. I'm fucking the Focus ST because I know it's going to be fun, but at the end of the day, I want to be comfortable, so I marry the Golf GTI.
Yeah, I'm probably in that same order, except technically Ford already killed the Focus.
Womp womp.
Yep. And I don't even know what the Mazda 3 looks like. I can't even picture it in my head. I know what a new one looks like. I know what a Mazda 3 is, but I don't know what the current one...
Oh, right.
I couldn't tell you what a 2018 Mazda 3 looks like. I mean, I guess the Golf, me and Volkswagen kind of have a rocky relationship.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I guess it's probably good for a few years until it breaks, as long as it's not diesel.
Brandon McGinnis. Hey, Brandon, we see you a lot around here. Thoughts on the... Oh, I'm sorry, Dad swiped. Thoughts on the Regal Tour X? The hell is that?
It's a... I saw one in Ocean City. The one I saw was a wagon. I don't know if they're all wagons. I don't know. It kind of looked like a Volvo. What were those like jacked up Volvo station wagons? XCs? 90s?
Oh, yeah.
It looked similar to that. My friend said that they're cool. They have some cool engine in them or something. I don't know. What's not really on my radar. You have no idea what it is. It was on your radar.
No.
Yeah.
Will we ever see a new Grand National? Well, not in the sense, to quote Anton Chigurh, not in the sense that you mean. Like, we will not see another rear-wheel drive turbocharged 6-cylinder that looks like that anymore. I don't know if we can look to American manufacturers for boutique cars, maybe Fiat Chrysler, who may be bought by Kia.
I thought it was Hyundai. Or is it the same thing anyway?
Hyundai owns Kia.
Yeah.
That's right. So
same difference.
Hyundai. To make a car just for fun and just for laughs, which is something GM used to do all the time in the 80s and even the 90s. Like, they could not do it for profit, just do it for the love of it.
Now we're in the 90s.
90s, they did the S10 Extreme Edition.
Yeah, but that was dumb.
It was a body kit.
No, they're good at slapping appearance packages on stuff, but it's not like it was an actual performance vehicle. Like the Grand National was fast.
Yeah.
And S10's just... I don't know, it was a body kit on an S10 with lowering springs there. I don't know if they were lowered. I think it was just a body kit made it look lower. Really? I don't think they were actually lowered.
I remember the commercial, and it was just surfers pulling surfboards out of the bed of this thing.
It's extreme.
Yeah.
The Ford Ranger Splash. They had that quality.
What?
Do you remember that?
No, I
it
don't
was like that was the Ford version. And it was a Ford Ranger that was probably painted some pastel 90s color. And it had that thing that was popular in the 90s where it was like you threw paint on something.
Yeah.
It was like flames, but it was like had purple like you threw goo on the front of it.
It was the like a Nickelodeon Splash logo. Like that was the paint.
That was the Ford version.
Damn, does one still exist?
I haven't seen one of them in years. You used to see them all the time. It was just like the cheap package, like the sport package, I think.
Do you remember the Dodge Neon Espresso?
Yeah, I just had one in the shop.
Oh, what did it need?
It sat like for 5 years, and they were like, "Here, make this run." But yeah, it had it said something dumb on the seats. It was like on the pattern of the seats. Yeah, and it was like it was a gray seat, and it had rainbow writing on it. Maybe it just said espresso on the seats, but it was in rainbow colors, like all in the stitching. And it was that purple that every Chrysler was in the late 90s.
Got purple, teal, off orange.
But yeah, I literally just saw one like 2 weeks ago.
So what did you get it running?
Yeah, I just needed exhaust, surprisingly.
Really?
Oh, and a fuel line got chewed through.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact, I realized that the plastic fuel lines everything uses, and I got this right from GM, by the way. Yeah. So a lot of them are getting chewed through by animals. Something in those lines, they said, attracts animals to eat it. Like there might be gelatin in it or something. Huh. But I've actually seen a few newer vehicles where mice chew through the fuel lines, the plastic fuel lines, and that's what happened on this Neon too.
Wow.
Something ate the fuel line itself. Oh shit, I'm being unprofessional.
Oh. Does it work?
There we go.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. It's in your chair.
Workforce 520 says, I found my aunt's 2007 Camry window sticker, and in small print it says it has a 7 horsepower reduction for California emissions packets. I guess there was like an extra charcoal canister or something. And
surprisingly, even that couldn't make a Camry any less interesting.
Like, who cares? They're never gonna get that car past 4,000 RPM anyway.
I thought about it. A Camry has to be like the most boring vehicle like you can currently buy.
You're right, but
just like it's a Camry.
Here you go.
Features. It's a car,
and yet can't keep them on the lots.
Nope.
They keep coming out.
If you
I just want to it's the answer. That and the Corolla and maybe the Accord. Like, I just want a car that's good, and you tell them Camry or Corolla, and then they go and buy a J body, General Motors. They buy that. Yeah, well, I can get a Cavalier for $1,200. Why would I pay $5,000 for a Corolla?
Yeah, like Camrys and Accords are like, if you just want transportation with, and it's comfortable, nice interior, it has features.
You can get them as 5-speeds if you look. If you need a stick shift, they make them.
It's a car. It's a good car. They're soulless. It's a good car.
Sean Brewer says, I'll miss most of this podcast, but I just want to say I love the channel. Thanks for the laugh, the insight, and the honesty, and for not filing a restraining order against me like Doug DeMuro did.
You put that on your list of things to do today.
I can. Hey, thanks, Sean. Thanks for $10, man. That odd geek. Okay. Just to look at the regular chat, Claudio says neon espresso. Take a Suzuki cappuccino and go with both cars and coffee. There you go.
Yeah, those are all imports, though, aren't they? The cappuccinos.
Yep, they're JDM stuff.
Yeah, they're like microscopic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The AutoZam's the tiniest one. I drive it. Both knees on either side of the steering wheel. My knees are at 10 and 2. I could fit in it. It wasn't fun. The 5th generation Chevrolet Nova is an 88.6 platform Corolla. Yes.
It's not an 86. They're front-wheel drive, aren't they? I thought the 86s were rear-wheel. I don't know my Toyotas that well.
Oh, wait. Duh. You're right.
The Novas are front-wheel.
But they made the Chevy Prism. That's a Corolla.
Yeah, but it's still front-wheel drive.
Right. Yeah, so you're right. It's the 88.6. What? A Nova that's a Corolla.
No, the Novas are Corollas, but they aren't rear-wheel drive. They didn't make them in the 80s. And somehow it was more bare bones and worse than a Corolla.
That odd geek with 2 pounds. How are Land Rovers viewed in the U.S.? Unreliable?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you like going to the dealership, because I don't know if, like, your traditional, Moxie DOS or whatever those scan tools can read those things. Maybe they can.
Mine can read it. I think they're legally required to be able to read pretty much everything on them due to the OBD2 regulations.
Uh-huh.
But no, most of the parts are dealer specific, because I mean they aren't that popular over here. I always laugh when they have them on Top Gear because they're like, they're the greatest things on earth for off-roading. I'm just like, yeah, you never have a Wrangler on there, do you?
No. Well, the car has to exist where there's an infrastructure to support it, and the reason that Land Rovers are only popular in certain markets in the U.S., like...
People don't buy them here for off-roading.
That's right.
They buy them here for luxury. People in Europe buy them because for off-roading.
Yeah.
In the U.S., people will just buy a Jeep.
Right. Which... Those like Wranglers, I can't believe that people are asking $10,000 for Wranglers and the frame's rusted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They roll through me all the time.
Like, what was the latest Wrangler project that came through Katasawa Auto Repair?
It's all for frame repair.
Really?
Yeah.
All welding? All
those, I don't know the generations, the late 90s, early 2000 ones with the round headlights.
That's the...
YJ?
TJ. YJ is square headlights. Previous
Yeah, those don't rust.
Really?
The bodies rust, the frames don't. The next generation, every single one will rust out right in front of the rear wheels and the frame.
Really?
Like, really bad. Like, the one in there now, like, this much of it's gone. Whoa. No frame at all. Like, you start tapping on it and the frame just starts vanishing as you go back.
My God.
But yeah, but it's just there. Like, they don't rust in the front of the frame, or the bodies don't really rust that bad. I mean, everything rusts in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it, but it doesn't rust that bad. The frames rust bad.
Yep.
And I drove like a new Wrangler, like when it's like 1 or 2 years old. I can't believe people buy these things to drive. They drive so terribly.
Yeah.
It's brand new and it rides like a brick. It feels like it's gonna flip over when you go over a pothole.
Yeah.
Like it's acceptable if it was made in the 60s.
Yeah.
I'm like, this thing's like a 2017. But they are better off road than like a Land Rover.
Right. Now people take issue with that. They're better off road than Land Rover, and a lot of it comes down to tire size.
They're solid axle and they're bigger, and they have more aggressive tires. The Land Rover has technology to off-road. The Wranglers and the Jeeps just brute force it. But there's a reason everyone uses Jeeps for off-roading. And
also the advantage of, you talk about the YJs and the TJs from the 90s and early 2000s are really the YJ, I think, started in 88 or something like that. Yeah, there was 1 year they didn't make them, a Jeep, a Wrangler. And then it came back with that, I think. Or no, that was in the 90s. It was 1 year between the square headlights and the round where they didn't make it because it was a total redesign. The advantage of that is a short wheelbase that you're not going to high center. Yeah. Stuff. And also weight. They don't weigh anything. That's true. You can fit. It used to be Windsor blocks, and now it's LSs that go into TJs, and you get better fuel economy. And you get way more power than the old AMC reverse flow straight sixes that was the best engine that you could have, the 4-liter straight six. And even those are, realistically, they're more than powerful enough for those Jeeps. The 4-liter. The 4-cylinders are kind of iffy. Yeah. But if you had a 4-liter in one, it's more than enough power for most people's use. The concern was that the gearing that they had on these with those straight fours, and this is coming from a Smoking Tire podcast where I had two Jeep enthusiasts who like get the trailers and go behind. It's the highway stuff. That's they already get them to move with the 4-cylinders. They put really aggressive gearing in them. They're like 410s or higher. And usually, I've talked to a lot of people that have owned them. Usually, the 4-cylinder Jeeps get worse fuel economy than the 4-liters. Because of the aggressive gearing, and the 4-cylinders blow up because you're always revving the ball bag off and getting to move anywhere, where the 4-liters are a lot less stressed. Plus, I personally think 4-liters are great motors. Power aside, but they're reliable. Later on, they had some issues where they made the castings too thin in the cylinder heads, and they got a little head crack happy. But the motor itself are pretty. If you change the oil in it, it'll be fine. Like if you do the basic of basic maintenance. Then 4-liters will be fine. W. Bush, thanks for $5. He just says, I want a badge job. I'll give you a badge job. What's a good badge job? I just watched something on Facebook about this too.
Boys, I just saw one too, and I was thinking about it. Well, the weirdest one of the weirder ones I think is that the Scion Toyota Subaru.
Oh, the BRZ,
Yeah.
Scion FRS, now A8. Just the 8.6. Yeah, people love them.
Yeah, it's just kind of a weird. I don't know.
I could think of much better engines to go in that car.
It's not the most. It's a weird combination of companies to get together and do it. I mean, Toyota and Scions, whatever. But I don't know. It's kind of like, oh, really? They're doing that? Okay.
All right. People like them. And hey, it's a rear-wheel drive car with an engine that they've been making boxers for forever, and they're not that bad of a motor. I mean, I can go into Subarus with about myself, knowing that. You know,
I mean, as far as bad jobs go, you can go right to GM because they did it with everything. And they're finally stopping doing it now. They're killing off all the spare brands.
There's a badge job GM that we're going to be doing. And this is a bit of a spoiler for RCR Chicago, but there's a badge job Pontiac. In Chicago, and it's called the Pontiac Phoenix, 1976.
Yeah, that's a foreign car. It's a Mitsubishi or Toyota or something, isn't it?
It looks, it's a square thing.
It's not. If that's what I'm thinking it is, there was one that wasn't.
It looks like an Olds. It looks like an Olds 442 from the 80s.
Maybe that's not what I'm thinking it is. There was a GM, and there was a Chrysler one too. There was a rear-wheel drive sports car thing that was actually a Japanese car.
This isn't a sports car.
Oh, no,
it's a four-door sedan. It looks like that 442 or like a Caprice Classic.
Oh, okay. I don't even know. If I saw it, I'd probably recognize it.
Okay.
But they made so many generic ass cars. It's hard to keep track of some of them.
The current Buick Regal and Tour X are Opals. Thank you, Workforce 520. Thank you for $199. Fly PRDU says, Mr. Regular, long-time listener, first-time caller, love your stuff. How do you like flying out to San Francisco and reviewing my 2012 Volvo C70 convertible? I've never. We were only out in San Francisco once, and it was kind of in the Berkeley area to go drive that Ariel Atom. I'm sure at some point, Fry Purdue, I'll be back in the Bay Area. You know the drill. Your make, model, city, state, regular car reviews at gmail.com. I mean, we'd have to like plan a whole thing to come out there. It wouldn't just be your car, but thank you so much for your offer, and thank you for the $5. Alex90 says, would a Chevy Dayvan, the 80s era ones, think they were also called the GMC G20, make a good camper conversion? What's a Dayvan?
It must not be something used in this country. Well,
because he's 5 pounds.
A G20 is a 3/4 ton GM van. There was also G10s and G30s. So G10 be a half ton, G30 be a 1 ton.
Okay.
And that's a traditional van.
Okay.
Now, it makes sense he's from Europe, because I was about to say, why wouldn't you?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was
going to say,
he's from the UK.
I was saying, why wouldn't you just buy a camper, because they're probably cheaper than the vans, because campers here are worthless once they're not new. But yeah, we used them as campers here. They came as either those conversion vans, which no one's going to want talking about that outside the US either, or they came as campers. A conversion van was, for some reason, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, these vans were popular where you would send them to a coach company.
What you would do is you would buy a cargo van.
Oh yeah, or I don't know if they were cargo or passenger. Either, but it probably didn't matter either way or the other.
Yeah, you could either buy it or, well, they would have them for sale at dealerships.
Yeah, but GM didn't make them. Other companies made them. They were sent out to like coach companies, like who would make limos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and you would put velour captain's chairs, like 3 or 4 rows of them in the van, wood paneling, like spotlights,
curtains, little drink tables that would swivel out,
sometimes a bed, but they weren't really a camper.
You put CRT TVs,
and then they'd have body kits around them, extra chrome shit on the roof.
Oh yeah, it had that television antenna that everyone had, a little V thing. And
people drove these things, and they were called conversion vans. I don't think they really exist anymore, because I don't know what. Oh, that was weird.
Ford makes Well, no, Ford doesn't make it. It's just their Transit Connect that's turned into a conversion van.
Well, no, they make a passenger van. It's not a conversion. It doesn't have like TVs and mood lighting in it or anything.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because like Chevy and Dodge and Ford all made passenger vans, which were just vans with regular seats in them without all the limo / porn set stuff inside of them. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. No one else in the world knows what the hell we're talking about with these things. But they were all around here like when we were kids. You'd see them everywhere.
Right.
Like they were popular for some reason at some point.
And then as they went out of favor and the price dropped, they were owned by the sketchiest folks possible.
Oh yeah, because you can just get one right now for like $1,500.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most uneconomical vehicle you could possibly drive because they weigh a ton. They are heavy. They're underpowered.
They have throttle body injection on 350 Chevys.
By now, most of the interior is probably urine stained and probably smells. So, yeah, it's just an interesting thing.
Ethan Comans says, "Thanks for $2, man. Any thoughts on the Corolla XRS, the first gen 2ZZ? I like it. I mean." The problem with that is that people are going to put 87 in these cars and not know it, and that's an 11.5 to 1 compression on those Toyota engines. It's a great motor. It was also in the Toyota Matrix 5-door hatch. It was the Corolla. The Corolla Matrix had the 1ZZ that would run on 87, and then the Corolla Matrix, which also had the XRS badge, that was the 2ZZ, which is 11.5 to 1. And power was, I think, 190. Naturally aspirated.
I'm assuming it's a 2-liter? Or is it a 1.8?
So. I think it's 2.
Okay. I'm just going by the engine code. I would assume it would be a 2-liter. But maybe Toyota's.
Well, the 1ZZ and 2ZZ had the same display.
Oh, I know what motor this is. I remember would look
it's an
up
MR2.
I would look up parts for matrices and vibes, and there'd be 2 engines the same size, used totally different parts for everything. Yeah, I know.
Everything was different.
Oh, a lot of the parts where the belts and stuff were. It was weird stuff like that, and you had to know which motor was in. You had to get the VIN code.
People would swap the 2ZZ from the 1ZZ in the MR2s, but if you're doing it, it's not worth it. If someone previous owner did it, knock $1,000 off his asking price, and then you buy it.
Yeah,
just to make sure he did it correctly, because they wouldn't even have the same computer, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hunter Edwards, would you consider my 2012 Mazda 3 manual or 2002 Mazda 2 Auto for review if I attended the next Pennsylvania meet? Love your videos, and I got my naturally aspirated Miata because of your videos. Oh, thanks, man. MZ3 is used off-road on job sites. MZ3? I'm not sure what MZ3...
Mazda 3.
Oh, thank you. Mazda 3 is used off-road on job sites. Very nice. It's true. We haven't reviewed a Mazda 3 yet. Plenty of Focuses, and we did the Fiesta ST, but no Mazda 3.
I just saw a Mazda 2 for the first time ever. One came in.
Yeah?
It's pretty tiny.
They are. You can also get them as a sedan. They first appeared...
This was a hatch that I saw.
You can get them as a sedan, but not with a Mazda badge on it. With a Scion badge. They first came here through Toyota as the Scion IA.
This is one of the weird Scions made near the end?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Ted Stoltz from Lancaster, you know him as the guy who designed the RCR logo, and sometimes he appears, another motorcycle guy. He bought one, new. And now they're called Toyota IAs. So Mazda does not sell the Mazda 2 sedan under a Mazda badge in the US. Toyota has that privilege of selling their car, but Mazda will sell you the Mazda 2 in the 3-door hatch.
More weirdness.
I know. So, thank you, Hunter. Oh, Magus Bolivis corrected me. The 1ZZ, 2ZZ are both 1.8 liters. Huh. Thank you.
And now we know.
How you holding up?
Good.
We've been going for an hour so far. Jesse Grower says, Mr. Regular, my favorite wing and beer combo. Okay. It's usually going to be something by Trogs, and it's going to be this combination that I like getting at the Brick House called the Cajun Asian, which is half Cajun, half Asian. Not mixed together on both wing, but like 6 of them will be Cajun flavored and the other half will be Asian flavored. That's my favorite. He says, mine is sweet and nasty wings from Angry Pepper in Mad Beach, Florida, and Bell's Two Hearted Ale. It's a shameless plug. Well, thanks, Jesse. And thank you for $5. JCall 613. Thanks for $10, man. I have a 2001 Buick Regal GS 3800 Series 2 Supercharged. Okay, so that's the one that they blew up one time at the Sloppy Mechanics. They welded the turbo on.
Yeah, that's roughly it. I think that even was a Regal, too.
Supercharged with 64,000 miles. Nice. Any suggestions to keep this amazing car running other than basic maintenance? Any problems to watch out for? Keep up the great show.
Intake gaskets. And there's plastic coolant elbows that for some reason GM routed the coolant through the belt tensioner.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I guess it's just a packaging issue. The heater hoses go through the belt tensioner before they go into something else.
Wait, did the heater hose disappear like into the block where the tensioner...
It literally... No, it flows coolant through the belt tensioner assembly. And it comes out the other end and it goes in the plastic elbows, which go somewhere. I can't picture where they happen right now, but those go bad all the time. Dorman makes aluminum ones to replace them. Mm-hmm. I don't honestly know if they're any better. You'd think because they're metal they would be, but that's really no guarantee. They might still break.
Oh.
But yeah, basically those elbows and the intake gaskets are the two real issues with that. Other than, like you said, basic maintenance. You might eat a transmission. You might just kind of roll the dice. Sometimes they just go.
Eric, who worked previously of Moyer's Car Care, his mother or something had that one Pontiac Grand Prix that had the LS4 in it, the transverse one, and according to him, the transmission in that was never made for an LS. And
yeah, I think it was the same transmission. Well, those have a different bolt pattern on them too, I think.
The LS4?
That front wheel drive one, I think. I know they have different. It's a different block.
Oh wait, you're right, because the guy who had the LS DeLorean used an LS4, and he did mention that the bolt pattern isn't the GM use it on everything.
Yeah, but yeah, they're probably 4T65s, which was the go-to GM 4-speed auto front wheel drive trans. Which kind of randomly explode under normal use. So yeah, I can see that being an issue. I've never seen one of those, like, personally. Be it the Grand Prix or the Impala SS that had the V8 in them.
Impala SS I kind of like. Hourly B. Thanks for $5, man. Hey, Mr. Regular, I was wondering if you heard or had an opinion on the fact that Toyota has removed all of their production cars from video games. They have?
I didn't know about this either.
That sucks. I haven't been playing video games for like ever since starting RCR. When I play video games, it's just stuff from the 90s, and I go back down a 90s hole when I play the video games I used to play. I'm not discovering anything new. I'm just, I'm eating dinner, I'm maybe having a beer, and I want some me time, and I want some low polygon count all up in this.
Some 320 by 280, goodness.
Oh, hell yeah. I need some pixelation.
I need something I need a graphics card for.
Oh, I need that.
Minimum requirements, graphics
software
card.
Acceleration. Man. So, I didn't know that Toyota's removed all their products from video games, including Forza? Really?
Yeah, I didn't hear about this either.
No, I didn't. So thanks, Hourly. W. Bush said, best bad job ever. I think he was referring to something you were saying.
Probably.
But thank you, W. Bush. Renegade Fighter says, that's false. They're in Gran Turismo Sport. Okay, so some Toyota products are appearing in racing games. Maybe just their...
They probably paid him for exclusivity or something weird like that, because I think I don't remember which one it was, but I think Gran Turismo paid off someone else where their cars were only in Gran Turismo or something like a year or two ago, so they probably did that too.
Don't know. But yeah, that makes sense. Thoughts on Astro and Safari vans? I love Chevy Astro vans. I think they look amazing. I know nothing about how they work. Says Taco Guy 135. I see them, and now I used to think they were the dumbest things in the world. The Chevy Astro, and maybe they call them the Chevy Lumina Astro.
No, that was totally different. There was that Lumina APV, which was the Dustbuster van.
Yeah,
which was the Pontiac Transport in the old silhouette. You know, those were front-wheel drive, and those had 3.1s or 3.8s in them. The Astros are rear-wheel or all-wheel. I believe they're not based on an S10, but they do share a lot of parts with S10s. But at least in the 80s, like when minivans came out, like the Astro was probably the best of the initial fleet of minivans that come around. You put it higher than the first generation Caravans? Yeah, because the Caravans, even the early ones, had like the transmission and head gasket issues and stuff like that. The Astro was built more heavy duty. It had a 4.3 in it. It had eventually it had the all-wheel drive system and stuff like that. So yeah, it was probably built better. You don't see many around anymore, though. No. A few of those fleet ones are still roaming around. Oh, with the sealed beam headlights. Yeah, what you're talking about. Chris Salazar says, thoughts on an MDX? Crap is that? Acura generic SUV. Picked up a 2011 last year and surprised how sporty it can feel for its size. Very few Acura reviews on the channel. Curious why. The thing about when I look at Acuras and partially Lexuses in this particular part of the country, we don't get those luxury nameplates until they pass through a few hands and a bunch of uncles before they start showing up on our streets. I mean, you'll see new ones if you go down toward Philadelphia, maybe out toward Harrisburg, and maybe even Scranton, but Lancaster, maybe. But out here, you're better off, like when you want to buy a used car, don't buy a used luxury nameplate around here. The people who want them, and this is kind of mean, but they want to appear rich. Yeah. But their car is going to break down more, and also it may have proprietary parts, and also it's been through more hands. A lot of Marvel mystery oil in that. Well, yeah, I know that the buy here, pay here car dealerships, they love those 10-year-old luxury cars, BMWs and Mercedes, because as soon as tax season comes out in January, those are going to be flying off the lot. And flying back on again when they get repoed. Yep. It's Dan Solner, who built the exhaust on the Falcon, with the exception of the 8 into 1 sort of thing that Bruce built that. But no, Dan Solner, great guy, said, I noticed something about like Schuylkill, Luzerne, and Berks County. I see a lot of brand new base model cars rolling around here, like brand new bottom spec cars that people just buy. And he's into the 240s, and he is into like the Acuras and stuff from the 80s, though, when they were around and all weird. And my answer to him, I think, was, well, when you get enough money, sometimes people finally want to have a car that's new and just works, because they live maybe 30 years of driving beaters. Oh yeah, they want something that's not going to break down. Yeah, so they got $22,000 now. They can just go out and buy, or maybe they're even leasing for like $70 a month or something. Yeah. A Ford. Well, not Ford anything now. Oh yeah. Ford car, but like Malibu.
When did they stop
Maybe.
making the Cobalt? Was that 2011? Was that 2011? I can't remember. But something like that.
Yeah.
Getting near the end of these super chats. Oh, that was the end of it. Yeah.
Someone said you skipped them.
Oh,
in the super
God
chat.
damn it.
Comp 182. I've been eyeballing it.
Comp 182. Okay, that happens when I dad click. Comp 182. Comp 1. There he is.
Go.
Sorry, Comp 182. Didn't mean to do that. What are your thoughts on the Mini Cooper S in terms of reliability? It's a great car to lease. Looking for a fun, reliable car with a manual that will be my daily driver. Look, are you looking to lease or own? If you're looking to lease, hell yeah, get a Mini Cooper. Get all that BMW stuff. If you want a fun, reliable car with a manual that you're just gonna buy, we'll go to something we said earlier in this podcast and get Comp 182 says own, so he's gonna buy it.
And the big question is, are you buying new or buying used? Because with any car, but I mean, especially with European, they know it isn't a luxury car, but if you're buying a BMW or Mercedes or anything, they're fine when they're new, pretty much. I mean, you got like 5 years, a window there. Usually, whatever the warranty is on them.
Yeah.
To where it goes from being a good car to being living hell.
Yeah.
So if you're buying a used one, you're guaranteed to get it in the living hell portion of the ownership.
Yeah. So he wants, and I'll keep an eye on the other chat here. You need until I hear otherwise, I'm gonna go with the manual Corolla. You can throw it around. It'll be fun. They certainly rev. I'm gonna go with a manual Toyota Corolla.
This may be shocking to people, but I'm actually really impressed by newer Kias and Hyundais. They seem like well built, believe it or not. Like the interiors, like they're nice interiors. The cars overall seem like pretty decent.
Yeah.
For what they are. That you can get them stick. I don't know what model it would be.
Maybe get yourself a Genesis. That's some money though. That's a rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, but I don't know what their smaller manual car would be.
The Elantra.
I actually like the Souls.
Happel has one.
Yeah, he loves it. I've had a few of them come in, and I'm like, this is pretty decent. It's actually like it drives pretty comfortably. They're roomy inside.
I got a lift from one coming from LAX into the city into LA, and it was a guy rolling up in a black Kia Soul with a stick shift. And I said, "Hey, good move with the stick shift." And he says, "Oh yeah, I love it. It's fun." I'm like, "Huh."
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect it. I mean, it probably wouldn't be your go-to car if you're looking to, you're looking for something like sporty or whatever. You normally just think Kias and Hyundais are junk, but the newer ones, I don't know. To me, they seem pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of fun and decent, I will get to other super chats, but I have to ask Justin about the Turbo C10 project. Now, I've been following on YouTube, and
between me and Jordan, the slowest project completers in history.
Well, it's like a builder's home is never finished and a mechanic's project is never done.
Yeah.
So it is a 1972?
3.
Sorry.
That was the first year of that body style.
So for those people watching, and also a lesson for myself, when I see posts from Justin Kramer here on his and by the way, Justin Kramer's YouTube channel is Fuel Injection Sucks. We'll plug it again at the end. And also on Instagram, Fuel
I think
Injection Sucks.
it's the same everywhere.
Is working on what do I need to know, and other people who aren't familiar with square body love? What's it about, and what's the truck about?
Well, the square body Chevy, which some people wouldn't, they become hot right now, but I've always liked them. But it's a 73 through 87 Chevy full-size truck. They technically made them until 93, like we said, because GM is good with that. Well, they'll sell 2 of the same car at once. So until they sold all the bodies off, it was 93. But that was just the generation of the full-size truck. My particular reason that I like them is my dad has a 1978 GMC Jimmy, which is the Chevy Blazer. And he had that when I was a kid. He still has it. He's owned it since new. So I grew up with that thing, with that nose, the round headlights, and the big open fish grill.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much why I went to him. But I have, and the one he's talking about, it's a 350 Chevy. Nothing special, generic emissions garbage motor. And I bought an eBay turbo kit, which I regret, but it's on there. And I was just like, let's see what happens with this. And it came into... I was trying to see what you could do with no electronics and no money.
Okay.
Not because I'm forced to, but I wanted to see, because people instantly dismiss all this stuff.
Right. And
go right to Turbo LS.
Right.
Which it is better.
Yeah.
Of course it is, why everyone does it. But people don't even try anything else. And a lot of the stuff I'm playing with hasn't really been done since the 60s or 70s.
Nice.
A lot of the technology. It's been done before. It's not like I'm breaking new ground. I'm just doing stuff they were doing back in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
So yeah, you have a regular 4-bolt?
It's a 2-bolt.
Okay.
It's actually the first 2-bolt motor I've had. And on small block Chevys, it's how many bolts hold the main caps on. There's 2 bolts or 4 bolts. Obviously, 4 bolts are stronger. By the weird twist of fate, the motor I'm turbocharging happened to be the only 2-bolt main 350 I've ever seen in real life. But I was like, yeah, it's fine. People say those are junk too, and I've heard it doesn't really matter either way. It's carbureted. It's not intercooled. And aside from the electronic ignition module and the distributor, there's no electronics controlling anything on the entire vehicle.
Nice.
So it's a fully mechanical turbocharging setup, which I heard nothing from the last 2 years I've been building this from YouTube comments that it's impossible, it won't work, it'll blow up instantly. I mean, it needs tuning, but it works.
Right. So we got to do this car on RCR, like a fully mechanical turbocharger.
Yeah.
It's just springs in the blow-off valve.
I don't know how blow-off valve. It's a wastegate. There's no blow-off valve. Yeah. Yeah, it's running strictly. You don't have a boost controller. Oh. It's just wastegate pressure on the wastegate spring. And it just goes into the carburetor, which I converted to be a blow-through carburetor. You
cut the
choke off.
Did you have to take the whizzer and?
Yeah, the choke will blow shut if you leave it on there. But a few other internal things. Once again, everyone said it wouldn't work. People commenting on the most recent video are still saying that it won't work, even though it's working in the video that they just watched.
Yeah.
But for a loose idea of what everything cost, the truck was $700, but that's kind of doesn't matter because you could buy whatever. The motor I bought was $100.
How'd you buy a motor for $100?
You just gotta look; they aren't worth anything.
Oh.
I mean, it probably depends on your area of the country, but I bought a running 350 for $100 with, carburetor to pan. It had an alternator on it, had everything on it, spark plug wires, everything. I sold the serpentine belt setup off the front, so I was going to use it for $80.
Whoa.
And then I sold the quadrajet carburetor that was on it for $40. So technically I made $20 on the motor.
I love this.
The eBay turbo kit was $700, which seems like a cheap turbo kit, but it was complete garbage. The manifolds didn't fit. I would have been better off just making my own manifolds. They would have fit and they would have worked better and they wouldn't have cost me anything. So yeah, we have that involved. The carburetor was $50 and it cost me $40 to modify it for blow through. So I have $90 in the carburetor.
Okay.
Where if you buy a blow through carburetor, they're $700 to $1,000.
Whoa.
Which, when everyone's commenting on the video, they're just like, oh, you need a blow through carb. No, I did this. It's fine. It's $90.
Yeah.
There's a mechanical fuel pump, generic Summit Racing fuel pump. On mechanical fuel pumps, there's a vent on top, which just allows the air pressure to come in and go out as the pump. That's this little flappy thing. I tap that and I run a boost reference line in that vent, which goes up to the intercooler, what would be the intercooler piping. And it forces boost on the other side of the fuel pump, which turns the fuel pump into a rising rate fuel pump.
I'm sorry, you just lost me. Like, what is this?
It will actually raise the fuel pressure equal to boost, blowing into the carburetor. and it supplied me with more fuel proportionally as the boosting.
Mechanical fuel?
Yes. I don't know why this works, but this was actually done back in the 50s on Studebakers and Thunderbirds and things that had blow-through superchargers on them.
So it's putting positive pressure
into the fuel pump on the backside of the diaphragm, which pumps the fuel.
Okay, so I guess it's helping it pump more?
Yeah, and it actually works. When you apply air pressure to it, you'll watch the fuel pressure go up.
Huh.
From its base 5 pounds, and it'll go up 1 to 1. So if I'm running 10 pounds, if I had started with 5 pounds at idle, and I'm running 10 pounds of boost, it'll now have 15 pounds of fuel pressure.
Huh. Amazing.
And I'm running a stock 70s ignition distributor that I welded the advance on.
I just saw that, yeah.
So it won't advance on its own. Whatever I set it to is the timing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I want to see how far you can push this. I'm going to go on with it, like,
yeah,
do other things to it. But it's more of an experiment. I wasn't intending it to be anything impressive or fast or anything like that.
I'm interested in every step of this. So go, if you're watching this, go to the YouTube channel Fuel Injection Sucks. That's Justin Kramer, and he's building this crazy, fully mechanical turbo truck. So in what state is the truck right now?
I dynoed it last week. Not for power. Matt from Slot Mechanics, Denma on YouTube. I think, was he in Slot Mechanics? He was Denma. He might be on the Slot Mechanics now.
Okay.
But he was on your channel for the 1,000 horsepower Turbo Colorado.
Yeah.
Built from mostly garbage.
At the time when I drove it, it was only 450.
Yeah, but it's known on the internet as the 1,000 horsepower Colorado.
Nice.
Which you'll find easily on YouTube and everywhere else. But I brought it to his dyno last weekend, and we just I wanted to see how it would run.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going for power, and of course, whenever you post a dyno video, everyone's commenting what power did it make, and they're wondering why it didn't make any power.
That's not what we're doing today.
And I even explained in the video, I just want to see what happens when you roll into the gas to see if it works or if it blows the pistons out the side of the block.
Yeah.
We're just kind of experimenting. I wasn't going for power, and it survived.
Okay.
It had some issues with the floats in the carburetor were sticking. Either they were sticking off, like no fuel, or they were pouring fuel into the motor. There was no in between. But it made like one clean pull. And it worked. It only made like 270 horsepower to the wheels, which sounds terrible for a turbocharged V8.
Right.
But these 350s only make... They're factory rated 160 horsepower. Crank. They do make more than that, but that's what GM says they make. Realistically, they make 180 or 200 crank.
All right.
So that's where we're at right now. I fixed the float, but I was considering taking it back today, but as we said, it's like 100 degrees outside, and I didn't want to stand in a steel warehouse next to a truck running on a dyno today.
No. But Matt lives for that. I wonder if he's there right now.
They were there earlier. I think he's gone by now.
Roxy Rainey, no question, but thanks for $1. Skeeter Skeet RX8 says, I feel the car culture is too expensive for me. It can be. It can be super cheap in the case of what? Square bodies or
Square bodies are money now.
Oh,
they're probably gonna go back down, but right now they're hot. But I mean, it's car culture isn't expensive. It depends what you want to do. There's always like a cheap way and an expensive way to do anything.
Like the cheapest things I've ever seen were the guys, the scooter club from Lancaster, who was running those Punch and Sears two-stroke mopeds. They were all into that. Like, look, you can buy this thing from some guy some guy has one. Like, oh, I bought this. It's just sitting in the barn. You can have it for $50. You can rebuild the engine for $20. The piston's this big.
I mean, I think for the most part, old pickup trucks are the way to go if you want to get into something. If you're into old stuff, I get some people aren't into old stuff. But I mean, if you want to learn about cars and get something for a project, I mean, you can still get like an 80s something Ford
Yeah.
F-150, Dodges are cheap yet for the most part.
We were talking about how on the way here, they are doing, Lemons is doing Retreat from Moscow again in 2019, and I want to be a part of that. And we were talking about how when you see Chrysler K cars, the Dodge Aries and Plymouth Reliant, they're one of two things: either mint or how is this running?
Yeah, like there's no floor.
How you holding up?
I'm fine.
Okay. Rob D, thanks for $5. The list of cars I review for my job so far goes. Oh, Rob D. Is that Rob Dam? Or someone else. The list of cars I review for my job so far goes Trailhawk, Mustang GT3, XTS V4. Not sure seeing what the STX is and what's a V4. Navigator, Euro, EcoSport, aka Eco Shit, aka Name of Lies. Thoughts? I'm not sure what the question is. My thoughts on all these cars? I don't know why they didn't call the Trailhawk the
just SRT,
the Hellcat.
Yeah, Hellcat Jeep.
That's what it is. The Mustang GT. I mean, Mustang GT is the most regular of all your V8 sports cars, and trying to hype them up as being something special doesn't really work. That the special versions of them are special, but your average
GT350 and stuff.
Yeah, but your average ones, I mean, they're good, and they're cheaper than Corvettes. Lincoln Navigator. Well,
those are like shockingly expensive now.
Really?
Do you realize that?
No.
Someone told me this, and I looked. A 2018, or if they're in the 19, I don't know if the 19s are out yet.
Yeah.
Navigator are $90,000.
Oh.
Like starting at $90,000.
I saw one at the New York Auto Show.
I think the Escalades are over 100.
God damn. I think that's from. Do they want to compete with Mercedes now? I guess so.
They look. I haven't seen one in person, but I was browsing the website, and they look. Those and the Escalades both look like very nice.
Yeah.
If you're into those kind of things.
I saw one at the New York Auto Show. I didn't get near it. It was up on the rotating plinth or whatever that thing was.
Yeah.
And it looked very space age, but my joke was, I'll see you in the ghetto in 10 years.
That's the trick.
Right.
You see Escalades you can get a first gen Escalade for $3,000.
Yeah.
Or less. And it was probably $60,000 or $70,000 new.
Yeah. They depreciate like hell. And all of them have the left side of the driver's seat completely destroyed. Because everybody from, I think, Brian's Mobile, that YouTube channel, the other guy, he had that whole thing like, look, there's a way to exit a truck. It's using this handle and not sliding down like you're on a water slide.
The other thing, guaranteed to be on an older luxury vehicle, like once it goes in the used car market,
yeah,
the wheels are going to be caked in brake dust.
Yes, yeah.
Like no one ever washes them. There's going to be brown over chrome. The fake chrome's going to be peeling off and everything.
Can't get a hose, can't get a rag. Just spray it off.
And it's ruined. Air suspension's blown out if it has that.
Yeah. Death. What is that? Death Hexia 2000. Death Hexia 00. Hello, I own a 2010 Mustang V6 with an automatic transmission. I've been considered trading it in. Should I keep it? And if I do, any mechanical issues I should look out for? Check to make sure there is no air in your radiator lines. That's something that can happen. Nick had that problem. Well, that's an 04 and you have an S127. But I think the Mustang V6 in the early 20 teens is running the Ecotech. The Duratec.
Yeah, is that running the direct inject motor?
No,
that's still the old, like a 4-liter or something.
Yeah,
like V6.
Yeah, they weren't running.
Yeah, I didn't know what year they started the direct inject yet.
I don't know, but that's still an S127, and that's running maybe it's a 3.9 or something.
I know it was around a 4-liter.
You could get the same engine. The same engine that's in the Mustang V6 from those eras is always the same one that's in the Windstar.
Or the base F-150.
Yeah. Different tune, of course, different exhaust. Should I keep it? I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you trade it in for what? I mean, any dealership seeing a V6 Mustang is going to give you crap on top of crap for it. You're better off selling that yourself on Craigslist. This is the general rule with selling cars, unless you're in some sort of super hurry and really jonesing for something else. I mean, you have the good V6, you have the double cam one. The one in Nick's car, the 04 Mustang, I think that's still the Cologne V6 or something like that.
Oh, it's like a 3.8.
Yeah.
It's a push rod. Maybe. I have here's two unpopular automotive opinions I have.
Yeah.
Number one is if you get a Camaro, Mustang, Challenger, Charger, you don't buy a V6 one just because you don't. Mm-hmm. It's just I know the new ones make 300 horsepower and stuff, and they're faster than a 90s V8 one, but it's just it's like a sin. you can't buy a real drive muscle car and have a V6 in it.
Yeah,
because
that's for a rental fleet.
It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like a V8 when you start it. I don't care how fast it is. It's gonna sound like a Caravan when you start it. So that's I don't know. I'll get rid of it just because it's a V6. The other unpopular one is gonna fire everyone up because I'm very proud of this. Like it or not, a 3 Series BMW is a Honda Civic with leather.
Oh.
When you go to the BMW dealer, you sit in a different waiting room, get your car serviced, because they don't want the real BMW owners to see you. They have the 5 Series and 7 Series. I'll wait for the comments on that one.
LS400, thanks for $2. I'm not reading that.
You are? Apparently.
I guess. But thank you so much for the donation. I guess I'm Protestant. UCC was Protestant. They're almost Unitarian these days.
Well, most things are Protestant, technically.
Yeah. The UCC isn't like Methodist or Episcopalian or anything like that. I guess UCC always was UCC. But thank you, LS400. Alex90 with 10 pounds says, Justin Kramer, I hope I spelt your surname correct.
Yep.
Sounds like a great project. Subscription is coming your way.
Yay.
Mr. Regular, looking forward to your review and test drive. There'll be a lot of tuning to do, but it'll be definitely... Oh, and you have the other truck with the camper on it.
Yeah, I have another... It's the same truck. They're both blue, long bed. The other one's a 78 with a 454, which for the Europeans is 7.4 liter engine.
No overdrive.
Nope. I just drove it to Maryland and back.
How was H2O?
It wasn't H2O. No. Well, I guess it rained. I guess it could have been. No, it was cruising. The cruising week. Supposedly it's all like muscle cars and hot rods that go down. It rained every day but Saturday. I've never been to it before. I know that sounds like a sin because apparently it's like the thing to go to if you're in this area. But it was very interesting. I want to go back. Hopefully it won't rain again. We hauled down my friend Corey's Pontiac Tempest. I think it's a 66.
Is that brown one he drove in the rally? The same?
No, he got rid of that one immediately.
Okay.
When he got back, that thing was done. It's a 67, I think, 4-door black Pontiac Tempest that he put a 2JZ turbo into.
Ooh.
Yeah. With a GM Power Glide and then a Ford 8.8 rear.
Did he have to make an adapter?
He bought an adapter plate. Oh. But it's running micro squirt injection. And
Mega squirt?
No, I think he's using micro on the engine.
What's the difference?
It's smaller. I think the micro, I haven't played with them, but I think the micro is better, more advanced computer than the Mega Squirt is.
Okay.
But yeah, I trailered that down because it runs an E85 and he was afraid he was going to run out of E85. Down there's nowhere to fill it. So we filled the car up, brought a bunch of tanks down. Yeah. And drove around in the rain.
Anything fun happened down there?
Yeah, it's kind of nothing really went down. The cops were everywhere pulling over diesels with stanced rims and LEDs under them. That was mostly what we saw.
I wonder what they're writing people up for. Just cruising, or
usually it's mayhem, like burnouts, donuts in the street, and everything. But it seems like they were really going after all the diesel trucks.
Interesting. Even the ones with silhouettes of AR-15s on the back.
Oh yeah, I think they were nailing all of them for the wheels sticking out of the fenders, because they all had the 22s with the rubber band tires.
Yeah.
So I think they were getting them all for that, just so that, I don't know. I don't think they're wanted there by anyone. I don't think they're wanted there by the people that have the old cars either.
No. Roxy Rainey, no question. Thanks for $1.
They're complaining in the regular chat that their question isn't coming up.
Oh, fuck.
If you post it, I'll keep an eye out for it. Yeah, the dollar keeps coming through, but their question isn't showing.
Okay, there's that. Oh, you clicked it and it went away. Oh. Now the super chat went away.
Oh boy.
Sorry, I'm dad clicking my way to freedom here. Pop out chat. There we go. Move this back over here. Move this back over here. Scrolling down. There it goes. So Roxy Rainey is the one whose question isn't getting answered? Or is it somebody else?
No, yeah, it's Roxy Rainey.
So what's his question? I would love to surprise him with a review of my car before he dies. I'm emailing now.
Maybe that's best. The email will come through.
Yeah. Okay, we got the question to you. So, Skeeter RX8 says, my Mark V GTI is cheap. It's no BMW though, still fun. Sure it is. I think I've tried to explain the PA dubber culture to people who aren't around here, and it's not just that it's a Volkswagen. I think maybe for some people they would want a BMW, but it's out of their price range for a modern one, so they get a Volkswagen, and because it's German too, they then drive it with a aura of imperiousness.
I as far as the VW people around here, I personally think that most of them are not into the cars. They're into the culture.
Okay.
And in order to become part of that culture, they have to get a they have to get a VW.
Oh.
It's I don't know if it's all over the country, but Volkswagen people around here are particularly annoying. but
yeah, it's like
no other cars. It's usually so it almost has nothing to do with the cars themselves. It's just like an excuse to get together and hang out, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they ruin the cars on purpose. It's almost like the crappier they make the cars, the more impressive it is.
Yeah.
Like they're
you have to, if you have a turbo diesel, it has to be sooty.
It has to have like a hood stack.
Yeah.
You're cooler if you make your paint peel off and rust.
Yeah. It'd be good if you have an external oil cooler.
Yeah, there's a thing where it's a badge of honor if your tires rub the fenders and burn the paint off.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when it's stanced.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I just don't know. I never thought about if the rest of the country was like this. I just assumed it was.
Yeah.
Maybe it is only around here.
You have like ratty Civics everywhere, but I've never seen Volkswagens.
But the ratty Civics don't hang out with each other.
You're right, they don't.
Like the VW people will get together in all over the country in huge groups.
Yeah.
And then they don't even look at the cars.
Right. They're not interested in working on them.
Like this show H2O we talked about, which is in Maryland, which I think is pretty much banned now. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But they would go down there and drive the cars up and down the road, but it was mostly just an excuse for them to get together in parking lots and drink.
Yeah.
Or in the hotels. They'd be like, go try the Maryland, park our car, and then just get loaded in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And then that was basically H2O.
Yeah, in the EU, they are also boring and snobby. Alex90 says, "Oh yes, VW culture. Do they drive them around PA, slammed to the floor, and sitting on split rims? A split rim?
Probably yes. My idea of a split rim is those 1950s truck rims that kill you. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, okay, that was the other thing. Is usually the weirder and uglier the rim is they can find to put on the car is another badge of honor. So yes, maybe it is all over the country. Maybe this isn't a local thing.
But we got the term though, PA dubber. Like you say PA dubber, you know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, someone has said it perfectly. VW people are the hipsters of the car world. And it's not the air-cooled ones. The air-cooled VW people are totally different than the people driving the mid-90s Golfs.
Yeah. And they don't want Passats either.
No, I've seen tons of Passats. It's whatever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I've seen tons of ruined Passats, wagons.
Man. Cactus Catastrophe. Hello again. Oh, Cactus Catastrophe says, "Honey, you missed my super chat unless you plan on going back up."
It's right there. You haven't answered it yet.
Oh, do you think that General Motors will ever go the turbo everything route that Ford has gone? Ford is now turbo everything, even in the Transit vans. Well, GM has their what they're calling it EcoTech, right? Or am I thinking of Ford?
Eco Boost is the Ford. I don't know what GM calls it.
Okay.
GM will, because everyone is. It's going to be easier for emission standards just to make the engine smaller. Which is, it wasn't. Manufacturers aren't doing it for performance. Everyone that thinks that is wrong. The reason they're making these little 4-cylinder turbocharged engines is strictly for emissions and fuel economy. They can make the engine smaller and smaller and smaller. If they turbo them, people won't complain about the fact they don't have any power.
Right. I saw it in the Chevy Trax. All of them are turbos now.
Yeah, well, the Cruise. They made Cruise yet? Yeah, the Cruise. They still make Cruise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's turbo. I know someone that bought an Equinox that's a turbo engine in it.
Okay.
The Silverado. I saw someone post this. The Silverado a few weeks ago announced that they're going to have a turbocharged 2.7 liter 4-cylinder in a full size truck.
What's the displacement again?
2.7, I think it was. It's a big 4-cylinder, but it's not big for a truck.
Right. How are you going to get the... It's going to have a tow rating? It's not going to have a long bed.
It's not even the base model. It's going to have more power than the base V6. It's powerful. It's like 300-something horsepower and like 400-something foot-pounds of torque.
Really? Huh. You know... If I were a bigger channel and could woo Ford, I kind of want... I don't know what the engine designation or if it even has a part number, but the turbocharged Ford that's in the Focus ST, and that would be the Falcon engine. I don't know how tall that motor is.
It's not that big.
But that would be a neat engine to have in the Falcon. Of course, I'd have a completely different transmission, and I'd probably be running bucket seats.
A lot of electronics, though.
That is true.
If there's anything new like that, there's a lot of electronics involved.
Yeah, where would I put that? I probably wouldn't have a glove box anymore. It would all end up in there behind that.
Yeah, well, the engine might be smaller than you think for the engine bay. So you probably cram a lot of it in the engine bay. In theory.
Would the electronics be okay with the heat?
Probably.
Okay. Have to protect it. It would have to be in a box, because everything splashes up from underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Cactus Catastrophe. We got that question done. I think we're gonna call it now for all of the super chats. Thank you to everybody who sent the super chat questions. We won't ignore the regular folks. We'll probably go for another 10 minutes. If that's
yeah, that's fine.
So what call a bunch of Pennsylvania? What do you call a bunch of Pennsylvanians in the middle of a heat wave? Complainers. You must be from the Southwest. The thing is that we're not built from this, and also the humidity.
It's 100% humidity right now is the issue. There's a cloud developing in his apartment right here. It's getting ready to rain in the apartment. That's the issue. I've been out in Arizona and Texas and all that, and it's 100 degrees. Yeah, but it's like a swamp in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, like I was riding up 309 earlier today, just picking up some empty water jugs I left on the AT. and I'm just looking at the horizon by the mountains and those radio towers that are up there by Summit View Restaurant, and it's just you don't see the sky. It just turns kind of gray.
Yeah, if you look outside right now, it looks like it's like a storm cloud. No, it's just the humidity coming up.
The sky isn't blue. It's like a gray pink. Texas is not dry heat.
Yes, it is. I've been there.
I've been there earlier. Yeah, it's dry. I'm outside and I'm sweating and I don't feel gross. Oh, I just wiped the sweat away. Here, you're just wiping it around the different parts of your head.
Trust me, it's less dry here. If it may not be completely dry there, but it's a lot less dry in Pennsylvania.
Get a CLP so you can review a semi. I thought about that, trying to get a CLP.
Commercial license.
CDL. Yeah.
I mean, you could just drive one in a parking lot, too.
Much love from Wisconsin. Proud Buell owner. Oh, you're a weirdo. I like you. What would be your dream motorcycle? Honda VFR. Like one of those from the 80s. They had the V-twin 4-valve double cam. The engine sat like this. It was like a 90-degree V. You had the bottom pistons straight forward. You had the first one almost straight up and down. Maybe it wasn't like 90-degree. It might have been like an 88-degree. Anyway, but they had carburetors, and you can't work on them because the carburetors are here, and they're like they have a weird angle in there. Also, I think that was the first year they had a mono swing arm. I know the modern ones do. It would be probably nicer to have it was a mono rear swing arm with a chain. It was all on the same side. That would be my dream bike. I kind of want, excuse me, Honda's new, and no one's buying this thing. The Honda's new CB1100. It's made to look like the old CB750s from the 70s, which I sat on one earlier today. I just met a guy rolling around at Snyder's, that intersection of 309 and I guess it's 443.
Okay, yeah.
And that gas station is going to be selling beer soon.
Ooh.
They found a way. And I met an old guy there with a 1971 CB750 completely restored. And it was fucking gorgeous. And I sat on it, and I moved the handlebars, and I'm like, this is crap. It's like, it's everything has that wooden feel to it. It's creaky. It's there isn't a lightness to the front of the bike. It's a very front heavy bike, and just not riding it. I'm sure it's fabulous, but there's a lot of heavy steel in those bikes, which, is nice for cars of those eras. For whatever reason, that's a nice feeling of the heaviness, but on the bikes, it isn't.
Well, there's a lot more balance to bikes. It matters more.
Yeah. So anyway, Honda made the CB1100. Which is weird because they call it 1100, but it's really 1140. Normally, they upped the displacement on the bikes to make them feel larger than they are, but in this case they went down. I don't know, for the title of the bike. People complain. My initial thoughts on those motorcycles is that they don't have enough power. It's an 1100 that makes only about 90 horsepower, which back in the day would be insane, but not insane, but duly impressive. But the point is that it's a cruiser, and that's kind of all I've been doing with my DR650, which I haven't reviewed yet. It's an off-road bike, but it's damn heavy for a dual sport that tries to. It has the appearance of a motocross bike with the plastics, like rear fenders where you would have your number on it, and your brush guards for your handles. It's more akin to a BMW GS650 dual sport, which sells itself as really a street bike that can kind of go off-road.
Well, yeah, those BMWs are like the go-to bike for people that want to have those crossovers, it almost seems. Like that's what you see most people riding.
I've never ridden one. They look nice. Hermes BMW.
Like whenever you see these guys taking on these cross-country motorcycle trips, they just get one of them.
Yeah. I've ridden the 1200. Freaking great.
My one friend had the Honda copy of it. So I don't know bikes that well, but
Honda, their big tour, the biggest tour.
It was a copy of the. it was their competition to that BMW, where it could go on and off road. I know it had half of a Honda Fit motor in it.
That is the Honda 700. It's like the Honda something. I forget the designation is, but it's a 700. You're right. It's a 700cc. It's half of a Honda Fit motor, and the touring one is called the X. So it has the higher fenders on it.
The gas tank is in the frame, I think, and then what we think is the gas tank is helmet-like storage.
There's a guy a few blocks over who has one. I started talking to him. He says it's the best commuter motorcycle I've ever driven, and they're also offered with a dual clutch, which is just a thumb button up and down for your transmission, which I think is stupid. But if you legitimately are commuting on a motorcycle and you're expecting to get 75 miles a gallon, hey, not too bad.
She bought it like she was one of the first people in the U.S. to get it whenever they came out.
Oh yeah. And
now since then, I don't know. She had some other crotch rocket. I don't know what it is. Some generic crotch rocket.
Consider an XC90 or a V70R for a camera car. Nope. I want a car that can be repaired in any state in the Union, and that is a Subaru. And also, Volvos just don't grab me at all, like anything, with the exception of the 240 bricks. They're kind of neat, but I don't know if I'd want to live my life in something like that. So Bruce says he can have a Subaru engine out in an hour.
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah.
I'm not that quick, but I've heard of people doing it in 30 minutes.
You have to not care.
No, you have to know exactly what you got to disconnect, and I've done a few of them now.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to catch on to the cheats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've realized that if you're doing anything that you have a choice of removing the motor on a Subaru, you just remove the motor.
Yeah.
It's really that easy.
See, the idea of getting I want the turbo one. I've learned my lesson in Pennsylvania. Just expect rust like crazy, because the engine I want and the body style I want is only from 2006 to 2008. It's the post-facelift Forester, where they did away with the banjo bolts, because this is something I learned from a Subaru guy, that the first generation, within the second generation Forester, they had the XT, which was they call it the detuned STI motor, and even though it's the same displacement, it has different heads, different injectors, different intercooler, different turbo.
Yeah, the smaller intercooler, smaller turbo. My friend had one in Baja.
Oh, nice.
The stick shift turbo Baja.
Badass. Build a PC already. So much FPS, much stutter. Wow. We will. How hot is this computer? Pretty warm. Pretty warm. Yeah, the bottom's not doing too bad.
The wood table hasn't lit on fire yet.
Yeah. But this computer I've had for like 5 years, or 6 years. Anyway, yeah, I'll get a new... See, I could probably be running this from my desktop, but I'm not, because my desktop is over there, so this is the laptop. The desktop's fine. That's the one we edit RCR on. But buy the Subaru Baja your neighbor is selling and use it as a camera car. Oh, yeah, the one for sale. I think they sold that down at the Deer Lake Auto, and that was an automatic anyway. The weird thing about the Baja is it's only a 4-seater. It doesn't have a center seat in the rear, and I wonder, it probably could have one, but I think they did that for safety and for cargo capacity, because if you put 5 people and put stuff in the trunk, you'd probably break something.
Yeah, mine might be heavy.
Yeah. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, banjo bolts on the Forester XTs. So, the first generation... the pre-facelift Subaru Forester from 2003 to 2005, the banjo bolts for the oil lines that ran to the turbo, where the banjo bolt met wherever the hard line was going, wherever the connection is, there were little metal screens in there.
Yeah.
And the service manual from Subaru said, if they was ever clogged, take them out and don't replace them. And they said that was the thing that cooked a lot of the turbos, because they would get gummed up and people didn't know that they were there. And one of them's easy to get to and one of them's a pain in the dick to get to. And it may be just another thing you do when you take the motor out.
Mm-hmm.
The post facelift ones, 2006 to 2009, they just never put them in. And then no turbo ever was oil starved.
Well, they had that issue with variable valve timing solenoids and stuff too on various cars. Is that
right.
screen?
I'm sorry. You're right. The pre-facelift ones had variable valve timing. The post-facelift ones didn't. The newer ones didn't, and they didn't have the banjo bolts at all. They just did away with it entirely.
Yeah, because the crud can clog up the variable valve timing solenoid. Right. So usually there's a screen filter somewhere in the system. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's usually on the solenoids. Sometimes they have them in random places in the block too, just to catch stuff. Mm-hmm. And those will clog up, and then your variable valve timing will fail, or not work, or throw codes for it, or whatever.
Huh.
But yeah, all those little screens came about when variable valve timing came about. Before that, no one really cared if there was microscopic stuffs flying around in oil. The filter would get anything big enough.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to call that a podcast. Happy 4th of July if we don't do anything between here and now. Oh, I'm sorry. Rubber Duck with no question, but $20 Canadian. Thank you. Maybe Cactus Catastrophe. Does Justin have any thoughts about Ford's twin turbo V6s and all the F-150s, Explorers, and Expeditions and so on? Is that the same engine that's in the police cars? I'm thinking it is. They're twin turbo
Bigger
V6s.
I think the like the Tauruses and stuff like that, I think are 3.5 liter twin turbo.
Okay.
Where the trucks, well, there's a 2.7 which is smaller, and then I think it is a 3.5. Well, yeah, it's probably the same basic motor.
Uh-huh.
But I haven't heard anything really bad about them.
Did you get any police cars in to work on?
None of them are turbo. And Pennsylvania's weird with their police cars. All the town cops around me have Expeditions.
Huh. Everybody up here has Explorers and Tauruses.
Yeah, well, the state police do.
Ah.
And I learned this. Someone told me, Corey actually, the guy that has the motorhome and other such things. Pennsylvania has a rule that their police cars have to be built in the U.S.
Huh.
Which is why you don't see the Chevy Caprice or Dodges.
Oh.
Because the Caprice is Australian.
Yeah.
And Dodge probably just builds their cars in Mexico or something.
Huh.
But yeah, there's an actual rule from who knows how long ago.
Is that a fact? Oh my goodness.
But yeah, the only issue I've heard with the EcoBoost trucks is that, and it's more of a driver air thing, is that people will go up a hill towing a trailer, balls to the wall, full boost,
yeah,
and up a grade like for 10 minutes straight,
yeah,
and they melt the cats out of them.
Really? Shit.
But that's really more of like, you shouldn't be flooring the thing that has 20 pounds of boost wherever they run through and just holding it there, because they're not really made for that. But that's the only real issues I've heard of, is that and that's more just people driving them like idiots. That's abuse. Other than the fact that I've heard from a lot of people that have owned them and gotten rid of them, that they don't get any better gas mileage than the V8s do. Okay. I've heard that from, I know they're rated higher, but from people I've heard that have personally had them in real world driving, not like, staged EPA driving.
Yeah. That
you're still getting like 12, 15 miles per gallon beating it around. So they said they should have just got whatever the base motor was that time, a 5.0 or something. Mm-hmm. It would have been the same difference.
Nice. To answer your question, Magnus, with your last minute question, the answer is keep it original. You get your parents' Mazda 6 manual. Nice car, by the way. Put an interesting engine in it. The engine itself is the Ford 3-liter Duratec, which is that's interesting enough. That makes good power for what it is. So keep it original. You'll have lots of fun. All right. Oh, Death Electria says, I'm from Pittsburgh, around the airport, and we have Caprices and Chargers out here.
Yeah, but it's a state. They're not talking about your local place. I'm talking about state troopers.
Yeah.
Because I when he told me that, I never thought about it. But if you look at state troopers, it's only Fords.
Huh.
That they have.
Huh. Well, we're bumping up on 2 hours. Thank you so much, Justin Kramer, for joining me.
Yep.
On this hot day. I need a million drinks, and there's watermelon waiting for us in the fridge.
Yep.
So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who donates to Patreon to keep RCR functioning. Thank you so much to everybody who was offering super chat questions. Thank you so much. We had a great time. We'll see you in Chicago coming in the week of the 16th. We'll try for a meet, but no guarantees. But there is going to be a meet in RCR Austin in October, in the middle of October somewhere. Also, please subscribe to Justin Kramer's channel, Fuel Injection Sucks. You can also find him on Instagram, also Fuel Injection Sucks, and follow his build with the turbo truck and also the LS Turbo Winnebago, which we didn't even talk about, but it's on the channel. Yeah, there's a
Turbo LS 1978 Winnebago Chieftain. That it belongs to Corey. Pulled out the 440 Chrysler Big Block and put a 2005 6-liter in it.
I can't wait. Hey, you have a great afternoon, guys.